I'm Locke Meredith. I'd like to invite you to join me on the next Legal Lines, where my guest is Sharon Weston Broome. She is the mayor of the city of Baton Rouge and the parish president. She's running for re-election on November 5th. She's going to talk to us about the state of the city and the parish, the good things, the challenges, and what her plans are for the future. So join us on the next Legal Lines with Sharon Weston Broome. Thank you. Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has served our community by airing Legal Lines, a community educational program for 18 years weekly to Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. Watch Legal Lines at LockeMeredith.com or Cox Channel 1004. Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. Hello, welcome to Legal Lines. I'm very pleased to have back on the show Sharon Weston Broome. She is the mayor for the city of Baton Rouge, the president for the parish. It's so wonderful to see you.
It's so good to see you too.
I'm sorry, I just have to shake your hand and say, you've been doing this a long time and done a wonderful job. You know, it's interesting. I know this is, if you're elected, will be your third term, and you're kind of termed out at that point.
Yes.
But I just was reflecting after kind of getting ready for the show again on all that you've accomplished in your life, all the different roles you played. This is an executive position, previously in the legislature. It's a legislative branch of government. So let's dive back a little bit. Kind of just remind people of who you are and where you've been, where you come from, and where you headed.
Yeah. Well, I have had a wonderful journey and the privilege to serve the citizens of this community of Baton Rouge and East Baton Rouge Parish in many different roles of public service.
When did you first come to Baton Rouge?
I have been here for 45 years.
Unbelievable. Because you started in Chicago, right?
I was born and raised in Chicago, but I have been here for 45 years, and I consider myself
You're native now.
A Baton Rougean. I am a Baton Rougean, true and blue. So since I've been here, though, I started my public service journey almost 10 years after I arrived here, and I served on the Metro Council. Then I went to the state legislature and served in the House of Representatives. From there,
for both terms, right?
Yeah, I served in the House. Actually, I served in the House of Representatives for 12 years. The Senate for 12 years, had the privilege of being the only woman thus far to have served in the second highest leadership role as pro tem in both the House and the Senate.
Because then from the House, after you termed out there, I guess you just decided to move up.
Well, you know, it was kind of a natural progression. I like to say this, Locke, that never when I responded to what I describe as this call to public service did I anticipate this journey being this long. But it just evolved. I never planned on, you know, after I left the Metro Council, I never had a plan on running for the House of Representatives. And when I was in the House, my senator left and became the mayor of Baton Rouge.
Which was Kip Holden,
Which was Kip Holden. And so then I ran for his Senate seat. And ironically, after he left as mayor, I ran for mayor president and won. And so
your degree was initially in mass communications, right? You worked for local TV stations.
Yeah, I always say that I believe that my background in communications has served me well.
Agreed.
Because you have to be an effective communicator to be an effective leader. You have to be not only communicate your message, but you also have to be a good listener. And I believe I have those qualities, and they have helped me and been valuable to me on my journey. And so when I ran for mayor president in 2016, I entered a race that during a time when we had a very tumultuous year. We had
2017, right?
2016.
2016.
That's when I ran.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when everything occurred. So we had the tragic killing of Alton Sterling.
Yep.
We had the devastating ambush and killing of our law enforcement officials. And then we had the great flood of 2016. So I tell people that when I came in 2017, when I was blessed to become the mayor president, I had to hit the ground running.
You sure did.
And I had to
Three
work.
very difficult things.
Yes. I had to work on restoring our city and parish after that very tumultuous year.
And you did a good job. You also passed legislation ultimately to generate what, $1 billion to start tackling the infrastructure issues that Baton Rouge have because we've grown so much.
So in 2018, a year after I had been in office, I responded and had been working on one of the issues that people talked about in the community, which was our aging infrastructure and our traffic woes. Mm-hmm. So with a collaborative effort of community and business, we were able to pass under my leadership the largest infrastructure project in the history of Baton Rouge. We call it MOVE EBR.
Right.
And it touches every part of our parish. Everybody is included. And right now we have 60 projects that are in the works. Some are completed, some are in design phase. Most recently, you may have heard that we talked about we broke ground, I should say, on the Plank Road Corridor project. And that's very important because it is going to be a corridor that goes from North Baton Rouge all the way down to Nicholson.
Wow.
But it's also going to include our bus rapid transit system, which will start at Airline Highway and go all the way down to Nicholson.
My recall is, didn't you also generate $255 million? And I'm trying to remember what exactly it was tackling. But it was funds, I think, for flood
so
and
drainage we have done
issues.
Let's go back to 2016. That flood has been a part of our lives for quite some time, and I had to immediately get to work. So we passed a storm water master plan to look at every place where water falls, and then follow it to where it goes into our drainage system and use it as a map or guidance to mitigate our issues. And so
and Fred Rayford's kind of helped implement.
Fred is our transportation and
Yes.
drainage manager, and he's been
Boy,
doing
he's
an
been there
awesome job
forever.
on that particular project. But it is, we are seeing with the drainage issues, let me just tell you, we have invested with ARPA dollars, $70 million, and we have cleaned out 30,000 tons of debris.
I was reading that, remarkable. And describe to folks where those funds came from, because most people don't know what ARPA is.
So we were talking about the challenges. Well, after the challenges of 2016, then we had some hurricanes we had to navigate, and then we had a pandemic.
Right.
And so
So this is your second term.
Yes.
When you're tackling a whole nother litany
Correct.
of very difficult issues.
And after the pandemic, the Biden administration went on to help cities across America with what they call the American Rescue Plan dollars. And so those were dollars that were infused into cities, and we were able to use ours in a myriad, to touch a myriad of issues in our city and in our parish. And drainage is one of the issues we were able to impact.
And my recall is there were also, during that term, a significant amount of woes from hurricanes and other tragedies that we just kept kind of getting punched, Hurricane Ida,
Yes.
and such.
So we stood up our Mayor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness over 100 times.
Goodness gracious. All right, well, let's continue this on the next segment. This is Locke Meredith, Legal Lines. My very special guest, Sharon Broome, the Mayor of the City of Baton Rouge, President of the parish. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. Trust is important when hiring an injury law firm. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands have trusted us and gotten the results they deserved. Visit us at LockeMeredith.com. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith. Very pleased to have back on the show the mayor of the city of Baton Rouge, the president of the parish. Let's dive back in, Mayor. So we kind of gave a history of what you've done, even as being mayor 2 times already, 2 terms, a period of 8 years. And now you're running again for the 3rd term. And this will be, as I understand it, the last term.
It will.
Even though you could technically wait 4 years and go again.
It's the final frontier for me as mayor president.
I've got it. I can't say I'd blame you one bit. So let's talk about the main issues, which I know you've already, in your State of the City and Parish document put out, are being addressed, or how you plan to address them in addition to what's already going on. But let's talk about each of those issues.
Absolutely.
Kind of line them out here, and then start to kind of give a quick note on kind of what's been done on it and what you would like to do on it.
Yeah.
Okay? So the issues, let's start first with infrastructure. That's always a huge one, and it's costs a ton of money.
Yes.
And you've gotten $1 billion to address it. So where were we, where are we, and where do you want us to go?
So when I think about infrastructure, I certainly have to connect it to our Move EBR program because it is very significant. It's transformative in terms of our roads and infrastructure issues in Baton Rouge. And we're talking 72 projects. Let me talk a little bit, Locke, about a project within Move EBR that's very significant.
Okay, please.
And that is our light synchronization.
Oh, bless you.
80% of our lights are about completed with synchronization. What does that translate into? Well, it translates into approximately a 10 to 15 minute less wait in traffic. I also would have
that
to...
saves tons of money, and it makes much more efficient
Absolutely.
working.
And so we know that there is work going on the interstate. It will enable our folks to come and use the roads and streets in the city as they try to navigate what's going on the highway. So that's one of the big pluses of our Move EBR program. But when we talk about infrastructure, I would put drainage and water management in infrastructure. So we have to think of Baton Rouge and our parish as a sponge because of the showers on steroids, as one journalist described it. We have to manage our water, and one of the ways we do that, I believe, and we have taken steps to do that, I should say, is when we are developing our infrastructure now, our roads, we're looking at pervious concrete. When we are looking...
When you say pervious, you mean it's going to soak it up?
Yes.
Like a sponge?
Yes. And then when we look at our drainage systems, we're implementing bioswales, which is a type of greenery that helps to absorb the water as it goes through the drainage system. I have to say, in my first term in office, I had the opportunity to go to the Netherlands. And one of the reasons, the main reason we went to the Netherlands was to look at how they manage water. Because after their great flood that happened decades and decades ago, everything that they develop, they think of water management.
Interesting.
And so we're translating some of what we learned there.
Because we're in the swamps.
Well, that's right. And so, for example, while BREC is not under my control, BREC is thinking about water management in terms of retention ponds. And we just did a ribbon cutting on the zoo. And part of what they have there is similar to the bioswales in terms of
very
the
interesting.
canals there.
So the water doesn't just sit there or evaporate.
Absolutely.
Instead, there are
Yeah.
systems, plants and such.
We've
that
got to get that
drink
water
the
out.
water.
Yeah, and that's why I said when we
Fascinating.
think about development, when we think about infrastructure, we have to make sure that everything operates as much as possible as a sponge. And that helps us with our infrastructure issues, our issues
interesting.
overall. And so that's part of what we think about as we are doing our work on the roads in Baton Rouge and in our drainage system.
I remember Jay Darden, when he was on the council, I think, came up with that idea of the retention ponds,
Yes.
and it's certainly helped. But I mean, so much construction, so many people moving here, and the little tributaries and rivers
Yes.
just can't handle the runoff
Yes.
anymore. I presume that's a lot of the
Right.
problem.
When I talk to Fred, he tells me that we're doing the work and our work is showing results. In fact, I would be remiss if I did not say that the work that we're doing has now produced another 5% decrease in your flood insurance, which now
So it's
means that you're
documented.
getting a 20% decrease in your flood insurance because of the work that we're doing.
Lord knows we need it, because the
Absolutely.
insurance is going
Absolutely.
sky
and
high.
more money in our citizens' pockets. So if we weren't doing the work and making the progress, we wouldn't get those type of results. And so I'm happy to say that. And I will tell you that as we look at our stormwater issues, we have to look at not only the quantity of water that goes through, but we also look at the quality of our water. And I know there's been a lot of discussions about a stormwater fee. While I'm not opposed to a stormwater fee, I'm more supportive of keeping money in our citizens' pockets.
So explain the stormwater fee,
Yeah,
what
well,
it means and what it would be.
Yeah, a stormwater fee would address implementation of some of our drainage issues, but also deal with our water quality issues that we have to be in compliance with.
Because the EPA comes
with
after us,
EPA.
don't they?
But we're fortunate here in Baton Rouge that because of the work that we've done, because of the money that I've allocated, 55 million, I believe, from ARPA and about another 12 million from other funds, we've been able to show good faith to the EPA of addressing our water quality issues. So we have submitted a plan. We had a committee that discussed the water quality issues, and so we have not had to implement a fee. And I will tell you that the only way that I see a fee being implemented is if it is going to go directly and help those residents in those areas.
It's earmarked.
That it will assure that their rates, their flood rates and their insurance rates will continue to go down.
And that would be a parish-wide vote?
If it took place, but right now we don't have to deal with a stormwater fee.
Well, that's wonderful news. The next kind of big issue that we always deal with is public safety. You know, an aspect of that is crime. Kind of give me a quick hit on what you expect to do in that. I'll tell you what, let's take this up on the next
that's
segment.
a big subject.
Yes, it is. This is Locke Meredith of Legal Lines, Sharon, Weston, Broome, the mayor of the city of Baton Rouge and the president for the parish. We'll be right back.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith. Again, very pleased to have back on the show Sharon Weston Broome. She is the mayor for the city of Baton Rouge and the president of the parish of East Baton Rouge. Let's dive back in. We're talking about kind of the big issues that you seem to always have to address, at least for the last 8 years, and project them as being the same issues in the next 4 years. So the next issue is public safety. which is a broad umbrella, and then within that is crime. So kind of tell me, what is your understanding of the crime scenario in Baton Rouge? I mean, everybody's under the impression it's still real bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just say this, that it is my goal to make sure that everyone feels safe in this community, that they feel that they can thrive and prosper.
And everyone means everyone,
and
wherever
everyone
they are.
means everyone. Everyone means everyone, and that is certainly my goal as mayor president. I will tell you that we made some very significant progress in our numbers, where we saw for 2 years, in 22 and 23, we saw a significant decrease in our violent crime and homicides, almost to the tune of 20%. And then in this year of 2024,
Of course, we had the pandemic going on during those periods of time.
Yes.
Crime went up everywhere.
Everywhere. And so we were on the forefront of seeing crime go down. Then this year, we saw an elevation in crime take place for the first half of this year. I believe that we are seeing, and I believe in looking at the data, that the data will show us that we're on a downward trajectory. But there is much more work to do.
Mayor, do we have gangs here? I mean, I've talked to Hillard, Moore, the district attorney.
Yes, and so I'm told by our law enforcement that they prefer to say that we have groups here in Baton Rouge.
Kind of similar concept, though.
Yes, it's a similar concept, exactly, but they like to say groups.
Now, what about illegal immigrants who are coming in? Because I'm reading, every day and hearing on TV that that there's elements of the cartels and such in Mexico. Are we having any kind of experiences with that scenario?
Not that has been brought to my attention.
Okay.
So basically what we see happening, I believe, are symptoms and results of a lack of education. I believe that we have to provide opportunities for our youth, and we, of course, have to start early with that. And so we have a program, and I will tell you that we have empowered our police department. We've empowered them with a raise to make our...
Didn't I read around 6% or something?
13%.
13%. Wow.
To make our salaries more
Well, they deserve it.
competitive. We have given, new fleet for our law enforcement. We've created a real-time crime center. We equip them with body cameras, and so...
I was going to ask you about the body cameras.
Yeah, so we've done a lot in my term as mayor president. But everyone knows, I believe by now, that you cannot police your way out of crime. That while you certainly have to have law enforcement and you have to have police on the streets, you also have to work simultaneously with programs. And so recently this year, I gave $1 million to some of our youth initiatives at Youth Lab. And so that's empowering our
So what are they
youth.
teaching there?
Well, it's a number of organizations that are all focused on youth empowerment and education and recreation and leadership development. So that was one initiative. And we've invested in the Inspiration Center, which is going to be built in Howell Place, which is part of the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
And that they'll do the programming for that, but the Inspiration Center will be a place where youth can come get tutoring, education, recreation programs. And so it's going to be a big initiative that takes place.
So I assume there's different programs for different ages of the children?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then is there also outreach to the
Absolutely.
guardians and parents
Yes.
and such?
Yes. So one great example of that is through our Safe, Hopeful, Healthy initiative, which we elevated right after the pandemic or during the pandemic. And part of our Safe, Hopeful, Healthy initiative includes what we call our Summer of Hope, an 8-week program where we go into those communities that we see an uptick taking place in terms of criminal behavior. We go in, we have conversations with the parents, with our young people. We bring police to the community. We have block parties. We provide them with resources.
Creating community relationships.
Exactly. And when we see that happen, we see a decrease in crime take place in those zip codes.
Because they know each other.
But as we go forward, I know it's still an issue we have to work on. Our police chief is now having conversations with Louisiana State Police. He's talking about a potential collaboration that may help us.
I assume the sheriff too?
Yes. Well, of course, the sheriff is the chief law enforcement official for the entire parish.
Right?
So there's always collaboration going on. In fact, we have what we call a public safety partnership where everyone comes to the table once a month from law enforcement and other areas to talk about what's going on and how we're moving forward to address it.
Okay. The election's coming up. I think the primary is what, November 5th?
Correct.
Explain to folks how running for mayor is a parish-wide vote, because that's why I keep saying the mayor of the city of Baton Rouge and the president of the parish.
So we have a
You're wearing two hats.
That's right. We have a consolidated form of government, and that is why the title is mayor-president. Mayor of the city of Baton Rouge, president of the parish of East Baton Rouge. So we now have 5 municipalities in the parish of East Baton Rouge. But everybody in the parish, whether you're from Central, Zachary, Baker, Baton Rouge, St. George, you all have the opportunity to vote in the November 5th election.
For the mayor?
For the mayor-president.
Of the city of Baton Rouge.
Yeah, for the mayor-president.
Such a fascinating, kind of odd dilemma, it would seem, having to wear those two hats.
Yeah.
So tell folks kind of, we've got about a minute left or so. Tell folks kind of why you're running again. I'd be exhausted after 8 years.
Yeah, well, we have some significant successes and achievements that we can point to. I've talked to you about several of them from our move EBR, from our drainage work, from the dollars that we've put into small minority women-owned, veteran-owned businesses, the work that we've done there, to the work that we've done in North Baton Rouge, to bringing in businesses like Amazon, where they're creating 1,400 jobs.
Mayor, we're going to have to leave it there. It's been so wonderful having you for the show. This is Locke Meredith with Legal Lines with Sharon Broome, the mayor of the city of Baton Rouge and the parish president. Thank you.